Well, hi guys. Let's have a look at Affinity Photo for Windows PC and how to put together different images in individual letters. And this is a Sublimation Special. I designed this originally for putting on a mug, a drinking mug, and I wanted the word love on there. So let's see how I went about it. And there we go. It's a quick step-by-step tutorial on how to put in individual images inside individual letters, and you can see there's a bit of a background to it as well, and it's got shadow offset and slightly coloured text. So to begin with, create a new workspace. Now I just used an A4 sheet in this one. Launch Affinity Photo, create a new document, and A4 is fine for our needs, so just accept the defaults. You can have a transparent background on it if you want to. Transparent background's fine. Now type in the word love. Use artistic text and drag out the word love. Now I've set the font to Abril Fatface, widely available on the internet from free sites. You just want the regular one. You can see it's quite a large blocky text because you're going to be looking at images through it. Set the centre vertically and horizontally, so it's centred on the page. Now, here's a trick. You select the text layer, that's the word love. Select layers in the top toolbar and select convert to curves. That converts the letters to curves, individual, and you can see in the right-hand layers panel, LOVE. Now in the Layers panel we notice that there's a group made up of the letters as individual curves in their own layers. Now that we have our individual letters, we can locate images or patterns to place in each letter. So let's take the first letter, L. Now let's put an image inside that we can pull in from the Stock tab. Now I've just gone to the Stock Studio there and found an image with branches and a little bird in it. You'll doubtless have your own images that you want in the letters. You'll notice that this is very large, this image, but that's all right. Don't try and get it to the right size. You'll just deform it. Now the best way to reduce the size is in the Transform Studio. Tap the lock to force the aspect ratio to lock in place and then reduce one side so it brings the image down to size. Don't worry, we'll resize it again in a moment. Now we have the size we want, and you can see I've reduced it considerably there, but it's still in proportion. Of course, the larger the letters to start with, the more image you will fit in. I could have done this landscape and stretched it out. That may have fitted better, but there you go. So you can see in the Layers Studio, the image is right at the top there. Now we're going to move it slightly. We can move our image into place now, making sure it's just above the L layer, the L of love, and it's sitting there just above it. Doesn't appear to have moved much, but you can see it's just above it. And that's right where we want it for the moment. Now, select the image and drag it down to halfway into the L layer. Let it go and it will be masked by the L. Now when you drag it down, don't take it all the way past the L. When you take it probably halfway, 3/4 of the way, you'll see a blue line across the layer. When that moves to a slightly left offset position, then you know it's right. And it'll be masked by the word L, the letter L. If you don't get it right the first time, just drag it back out, try it again. It doesn't lock in position and stay there. You can still move the image around to get the best aspect for it that you want too. You can even resize it. Here I've resized the image to highlight the little bird that was in there. Although it's still a little small on the screen there, but that's all right. As long as you've got that image selected, you can still do whatever you like to it. So now let's complete the other letters. Adjust the size to best fit the letter, then drag the image layer into the letter just as before. So it's up the top there, I resize it, drag it down into place and place it. Now all the images are in place, and I've just selected images from the studio, from the stock studio there. And I think I used Pixabay, that's right. Now you can see the LOVE, not just black letters anymore, they've all got nice little patterns in them, and the last one's actually got a couple embracing in there. Sets off the word love nicely. And you can see each item in the layer is in the right place. Now let's dress it up a little with some effects. Duplicate the L layer and remove the image sublayer so you're left with just the L. So just duplicate it, then remove the image because it'll duplicate that as well. You just want the letter L. Now bring it below the original and colour it. I've coloured it a slight blue there. Go back to the original layer, that's the one above it, and reduce its opacity to 65%. That will give it a nice blue cast to the original L. You might need to experiment with that to get it just how you want it. Depends on what images you have and things like that. But it's that easy. Now, still on the original layer, go to FX and add an outer shadow that complements the L colour and apply settings as shown. You can experiment with this to get just the outer shadow that you want. Your layers should now look something like this, and repeat the process with all letters. I've used a different offset colour for each letter. Now you can't see it in the layers, but what you can see in the layers is each individual letter has been left on its own below its original mask. So with all letters complete, you can start to see the potential. Now let's put a textured background behind it. You might have noticed it already. I've put an ink spot SVG image behind the whole thing. You may have other designs you prefer. Now this has got a white background, but that's alright, white doesn't print anyway. And if your mug's white, well, it doesn't matter. Now then, let's turn this into a sublimation design for a mug. So it needs to be 6.4 inches by 2.8 inches high. And you can see the ink spot layer is the very bottom layer in the stack there. You don't want that over the top because the ink spots would then, if they are at all there, they'll be over the top of your word love. Now why have we got ink spots on there? That's just to give the mug a bit of texture. Maybe you've left it next to the photocopier or something and you've got ink spattered on it. Well, there we go. It all helps. You can put whatever you like there if you do want a background, everything you like, or none. Now, resize for a mug. Select the entire document, go up to Document, tap the Document tool on the top toolbar. Tap Resize. Change the units to inches if they're not already, and unlock the width and height. Enter 6.4 inches by 2.8 inches and tap Resize. The resize option, remember, is in the document menu at the top. So select resize, select the size you want, 6.4 by 2.8, and in that drop down menu will be the word resize again, so you just click on that and it resizes. And you can see there it's stretched it out, looks good. There we go, resize. Resize document, 6.4 inches. Units are inches, DPI is 300. And it's all set. Click on resize and there's your image. Create a new layer in the new resized document. You can see I've compressed everything up so it's all in one group. And drag out a white rectangle. Place that on the bottom of the stack. This is particularly helpful if you've got a transparent background and you've got something like the ink spot texture over it, this can help you visualize your complete layout and highlight additional elements if any. Remember, white doesn't print, but when you want to export it, well, if you like, you can just hide that layer and it won't export it. Your finished mug sublimation image. Not shown to scale here, of course, but the original is 6.4 by 2.8 inches. Now that will wrap nicely around a mug. Just like that, your finished mug. Now, thanks for watching. I hope you find this useful in your crafting and design. It's just a quick little exercise, so please remember to subscribe and tap the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Tap the bell too if you want reminders of new videos when they're put up on the website.